Alright, so obviously you're here because you saw the thumbnail and you saw the title. We're here to install a Team Z anti-roll bar in the back of this Fox body. So, we have the links right here on the axle already. Those were already welded on and the axle was powder coated when the car came in. So we are just going to mount the bar itself, but we'll go over how you would mount the tabs to the axle if need be. Now, if you're here to see this bracket, or you can see this bracket, let me show you the other side, maybe it'll be a little easier for you to see. You can see that this bushing is offset on this plate. So you might think that you want the bar down away from the floor, but that's actually wrong. You want this bar or this bushing in the top furthest forward corner on each side. So these plates are welded in at an angle and they will only fit in one way in the chassis. You can't have them upside down. But like I said, you're gonna want these bushings in the top furthest forward corner. So what you have to do is, I went up here already, as I'll just post a little clip here. And I just ground all of the paint and crud and everything off of the frame rails. You know, I just did an 8-inch wide chunk. That'll give us lots to move this thing forward and backward and left to right. So let me put the camera down here and we'll get this thing kind of sitting in place. I'll throw a pair of vice grips up there to attempt to hold it and I'll show you exactly what we're doing. All right, so that was a little bit tricky, but we were able to get it up here. What we ended up doing was, if you can see the floor right here, you want to measure from that to the furthest forward point of the bar here, and you should have 1 3/4. Then what you want to do is come all the way over to the other side, measure from the floor this way, 1 3/4. So what I ended up doing, let me see if I can put this up exactly where I was. Here we are. So I ended up measuring, putting my tape measure against the floor here, going there, and like I said, that gap, 1.75. So once you have that on both sides, let me set you down here. Once you have that on both sides, what you want to do is grab this arm and just rotate it up and down. Now it is a little bit snug, but that's all right. There's some powder coat on here on these bronze bushings, so that is going to wear off. And to be honest, it was snug when it was just in my hands anyways. So this thing moves up and down, as you can see, and honestly, just doing it this much here, it is super, you know, smooth, and it's getting a lot better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna weld down at the rear side of this plate, and we're gonna weld across the bottom. They say do not weld the front side and do not weld the top. That is because if you ever need to take it out to change a bushing or anything, you can cut the weld on the bottom, cut the weld on the back, and you can pull this thing out and you know kind of where it goes back when you put it back in the car. If you weld the top and the front, it'll be almost impossible to get it out without destroying everything. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and burn across the bottom, burn up that back side on both sides, and then we'll grab it again, give it an old tug back and forth, and then we'll start setting the link length. Okay, so now that that thing is welded in, like I said, the bar is moving a lot better now because I've done it 30 times, and it's just kind of chewing up some of the powder coat that's in that bronze bushing. So now you have your end links. The end links do come in the pack. Obviously, they're all taken apart. So you have a Heim joint here, you have a little jam nut, and then you have this threaded center section, and you have a jam nut and another Heim joint. So if you'll notice here, this side over here has this little notch in it, about 1/2 inch in, and that's to indicate that that is the left-hand side, or the left-hand threaded side. So that one will thread in reverse. The side with no notch in it will thread in just normally. Now, easiest way to do these is take the mounting bolt that you're going to put through the tabs on the axle and on the anti-roll bar. You're going to set these in just like this, and you'll make these the same length. Now what you want to do is make the passenger side one 1/2 of a turn smaller or tighter than the driver side. And what that's going to do is, if you've ever noticed when you launch your car, it'll try to pull that driver side wheel up just the way the engine is torquing. This thing now, with that preload a little bit more on the passenger side, is going to launch it both together. So you can, you know, plant that tire. Now, it's a good place to start with 1/2 a turn too much or smaller on the passenger side. You can always adjust. If you notice the car is still pulling a little bit, go another 1/4 turn or 1/2 a turn. If you find that it's going the other way, well, you take out a 1/4 turn or a 1/2 a turn, and you just kind of tweak it in with your setup on whatever track you usually run. So we're going to go ahead right now and get bolts set in both ends of it. We'll get them the same, a 1/2 a turn less that passenger one, and we'll go ahead and slide them in. Okie dokie. So as you can see here, we have the bolt through there, we have the bolt through up here. What I'm going to do is tighten those 2 bolts down, and then we'll go ahead and tighten the jam nuts. And that's all you need to do. Now again, once you get out to the track, you need to test. That's why they call it test and tune. Go out, see what your car likes, what it dislikes, and you can tweak this thing, you know, 1/2 a turn on this side, 1/4 turn over there, and you can dial your setup in. But it is literally that easy. I think I've been at this now 35 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. We'll say an hour total, and you can have one of these things in and have it ready to go. It's not a huge job as long as you have a welder. If not, you know, even if you take it to a welder, it's not that big of a job either. So we're going to let this thing cool off, and then we're going to go ahead and paint underneath here so it's all super nice. It doesn't go ahead and rust on them. And after that, we're ready to go to the track. Have a good time, you know, at the track testing your setup, and hopefully this video is helpful. Take care, catch you later, and get out in your shop and do stuff.